Welcome back to Champion News Talk Radio, brought to you by championnews.net. This is Carol Parisi, and today we have our Back to School special with 3 teenage patriots. We have David, Ed, and Mike, and they are from the Lamont Junior Tea Party. And gentlemen, thank you again for joining us. We were talking about what you guys are going to be doing to help impact change and bring about change in our country. So I'm going to open it up. How do you guys plan on educating people besides the internet?
Well, we plan to, on top of the internet, we plan to start a club at our high school, and hopefully, if that gets rolling, that will be like, it won't be another class. It'll be something kids want to go to. You need to make sure it's something interesting and yet have a fun twist to it for kids to pay attention. Because keep in mind, we're only 13, 14 years old.
Is it an extracurricular activity, like an outside club, that like a chess club or something like that?
Yes, that would be the intention of it. And that would be after class, after school.
Well, of course it'll be fun because you guys will make it fun. But now my question is, do you think your school is going to allow you to do that? Because your teachers obviously are not telling, some of these teachers, from what I'm hearing from our last conversation, are not totally embracing the principles of liberty. Have you brought this to your school yet to let them know?
Not as of yet, but my brother is in high school right now, and he knows a few conservative teachers, and one of them is actually the speech teacher, which is a good thing, because conservatives need to know how to speak well, because, President Obama knows how to speak very well, and he almost memorizes the audience with his voice, and,
he mesmerizes because he's got that teleprompter. He watches that teleprompter. Have you ever seen him without a teleprompter?
Yeah. He did very poor without it.
I have a 14-year-old son like you, and my son brings his friends over to the house, and I ask them what they think about our president. And they think a lot like you. So, Jack, I'm very encouraged with our young people that are entering high school, because I think they see some of the things that are going on.
You notice, though, Ed here told us that his family came from Lithuania. Mm-hmm. In my business, I have a lot of people that have come to auto engineering from foreign countries, from Romania, Ukraine, of course, Mexico, Laos, South Korea. And what I find is that people who come from places where they're abused recognize the symptoms in our own government that are socialist and are very much, Obama seems to vibrate more with the kind of government they had in the places they wanted to get away from, where the government was the be-all and end-all and the protector of everybody who protected nobody. They left, my God. Think of the beautiful places. So many of these families left in the old country or Mexico. Beautiful places. And they came here, sometimes to the poorer parts of our city, without bringing along all of the possessions they had, if any. Who knows? But they left that crap behind to find it recognizable that that's what our government is trying to feed us now.
Well, clearly, I think that coming from a country like a socialist country, you are more aware of some of the things that are going on here that are gearing us to be more of that type of country if we don't put the brakes on.
Lest we give the impression that we are feeding these guys this stuff and propagandizing themselves. How come you found these fellas that on their own have taken an attitude like this? How did you find them?
Well, one of the other Tea Party leaders, Stephanie, who was on our show months back about the school district, said that you've got to meet these young people. They're amazing. They've started this on their own volition. And you know something funny? The left will say, oh, who's paying you? Anybody paying you guys to do this? No, not at all. Okay, who's feeding you this? Is anybody?
Are they getting your girlfriends or what?
You guys are doing this on your own volition, or is somebody making you do this? Are your parents making you do this?
No, we're doing it all on our own. Yep.
And you're doing it all on your own because?
Because we see the wrongs being committed in Washington and all over, and I want to live in a free America, as I always have, and if we don't act now, it won't be like that.
Now, the president is telling you, and all of the pals with him, that you're victims, and that all these industrialists and bankers are taking all of the goodies away and spreading poverty among the cause of poverty. That's a pretty complicated question, but it certainly is what you're getting out of the press and politics, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, so take on from here.
Go ahead, David. You were going to say something.
The industries, they're important. They're not taking money from us, they're giving money to us. They're employing people, they're making products so people can buy, and you need industry to boost the economy.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think of the debt ceiling debate, as much as you know about it?
Well, from what I've heard, hasn't it gone from, how do I put this? I think did it raise the debt ceiling, am I correct? But it shortened the spending from 8 to 4%. It slowed it down, am I correct?
Do you think it's a good thing, or do you think this is helpful to America, or do you think they kick the can to your generation more?
I think they're still kicking the can to us. Yeah. So
A lot of people are talking about the fact that they're kicking the ball down the road, or the can, and they're passing the debts on to your generation for all of the spending that's going on here. What you've got, my words now, is a bunch of politicians that take the taxes from people or borrow almost half of what they pass on in the way of welfare is borrowed money. So they're putting the whole country in debt to tell you that we're doing good for you. How can that be any good? I'm a businessman, and I spend money all the time on wages and materials and buildings and advertising, all these different things. I'm spending money, and I spend money on things that I and the rest of the executives and people in my company, what their opinion is about the people that are selling us metal or space or electricity. Not that so much, you're limited on choices, but all of the different things we're buying. It's our choice with the person who's serving us. And it strikes me, when you put the government in there, if you send $100 to the government to do you a service, there's a bunch of klutzes, these unbright people that have messed this up, that are going to spend my $100. And by the time they turn it around and give it back to the victims of the capitalist economy, there's, out of the $100, maybe there's 20 or 30 actually going to do any good for anybody. And all the rest is sucked up by a bunch of bureaucrats.
Bureaucracy.
So the efficiency of it is awful.
Now, gentlemen, what do you plan on doing? Do you plan on doing something or anything to make sure Barack Obama is not reelected?
We're planning about going from door to door in our neighborhoods, handing out campaign literature about the next presidential, the 2012 Republicans running, and hopefully we educate the people, and hopefully they see what we're trying to do here.
Do you think that you can do you have a lot of people that will do stuff with you, and are you collaborating with any of other groups to help make this happen?
Well, we're involved mainly with the Lamont Tea Party, the adults, and recently we just gave a speech on last couple weeks ago, July 12th, and there's quite a few people that showed up. I mean, they've helped us get our start, as you say. After they helped us bring our group to something bigger than it was.
So you're going to be working alongside the adults.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty exciting. That's pretty exciting. But I do want to hear more on how you guys are going to educate people. Are you going to educate people face to face, door to door, or are you going to be having meetings? Have you had any meetings?
We haven't had any meetings yet, but we're planning on one.
Okay.
The only meeting we had so far would be our July 12th one.
Okay. You know what? We are going to be talking to more about how these young people are going to help bring about change in America after the break.